At my daughter's school play, my phone buzzed. One message: do not react. Walk out. My pulse stuttered. I glanced up. On stage, amid paper trees and cardboard stars, my daughter stood frozen mid-line, her cue missed, her lips trembling. She held up a hand-painted sign, part of the scenery, I thought. Then I saw it. The words only I could read through the glare: pretend everything's fine. She looked right at me, then, subtly, pointed toward the exit doors. I didn't move, couldn't. 3 rows back, a man stood up slowly. I didn't recognize him. He wore a dark coat, collar high, face half-shadowed. His hand slipped into his pocket. Then, the auditorium doors clicked, loud, final. Someone had locked them, from outside. A hum rippled through the crowd. Parents glanced around, confused, whispering. My daughter's eyes, wide, glassy, never left mine. That was when I knew this wasn't part of the performance. Something had been set in motion long before this night, and I wasn't the one directing it anymore. It started months earlier. Small things, forgotten calls, late meetings, the faint trace of cologne that wasn't mine on her scarf. Mary had always been good at pretending. A soft smile, an absent hand on my shoulder, the practiced warmth of someone rehearsing emotion. Then came the dreams, hers. She'd whisper names in her sleep, one in particular. I'd wake, watch her breathing beside me, and wonder who she was thinking of. I told myself I was imagining it. I told myself marriage gets strange after children. Distance becomes routine. But the distance began to look deliberate. Then, one evening, I picked up her phone by mistake. A message lit the screen before I could stop myself. Just one line. Same hotel, same room. He'll never find out. No name, no timestamp. Just the weight of truth disguised as text. I deleted nothing. I said nothing. But something inside me shifted, quietly, like a door clicking shut in an empty house. That's when the investigation began. I didn't rage, I observed. Passwords, routes, alibis. Her stories became patterns, her excuses repeated. Every repetition was a thread I pulled gently, methodically. I learned she took lunch breaks longer than she claimed, visited the same cafe every Thursday. A man always arrived 5 minutes later. I watched from across the street, a coffee untouched in front of me. He looked ordinary. That was the insult. Nothing remarkable, except the ease with which she smiled at him, a softness I hadn't seen in years. I hired no detective. I didn't need one. Cameras, recordings, silent evidence. Every lie archived, every whisper stored. Then the DNA kit, the one I ordered online, unmarked package, hidden under the sink. I told myself it was paranoia. Still, I took the samples, a brush, a toothbrush, a strand of hair from my daughter's pillow. Messages. Deleted, but not gone. Last night was perfect. Next week, same place. Always signed with a single initial, R. Hotel reservations matched the receipts from the package. She wasn't clever enough to cover all her tracks. Love makes people sloppy. At the office, I ran a DNA test. Quiet, untraceable. Our daughter's hair, plucked gently from her brush. My own swab, clinical and cold. I told myself it was paranoia. But paranoia is just intuition dressed in armor. While I waited, I observed. Patterns revealed themselves. Late meetings, business trips that aligned perfectly with R's calendar, something I uncovered after one discreet search through company directories. He wasn't a stranger. He was her colleague, her boss. The truth wasn't circling me anymore. It was closing in. And I let it. The DNA results arrived in a plain envelope. I opened it at my desk, the world narrowing to black and white text. Probability of paternity, 0%. Not mine. Never mine. I folded the paper once, twice, sliding it into my jacket pocket as if it were nothing more than a receipt. My hand didn't shake. My breath didn't falter. Inside, I was collapsing. Outside, I was stone. That night, she returned home late. Perfume lingered sharp, over-applied. Her laughter too rehearsed, her excuses too casual. I handed her the envelope, said nothing, just placed it in her hands. Her fingers trembled before she even opened it. She knew. She always knew. When her eyes scanned the words, her face drained. She tried to speak, apologies, explanations, lies stacked on lies. I didn't hear them. I watched her mouth move, watched her collapse into herself, watched her realize the stage she had built was on fire. And I remained silent. The next morning I left the package, every photograph, every receipt, every letter on the polished desk of R. His secretary found it first, lips pursed as she carried it inside. I didn't wait for the reaction. I didn't need to. By noon, whispers filled the office halls. By evening, he was summoned by the board. Married men in glass towers fall fastest when their sins are documented. At home, she waited for me, red-eyed, desperate. "Please, we can fix this." I looked at her, truly looked at her, the woman who had built a family on deception. "You already fixed it," I said quietly. "You gave him everything I never had." Her face broke. Mine didn't. I moved through the house like a guest, collecting what little belonged to me. A few clothes, documents, nothing sentimental. She begged. She reached for me. She even tried to weaponize our daughter, a child I now knew was never mine. But her words slid off me like rain on stone. I left the key on the counter, beside the silent refrigerator, beside the echo of a life that was never real. Outside, the air was sharp, clean. For the first time in years, I could breathe without choking on someone else's lies. I didn't look back, and I never would. She buried herself in lies. My only revenge was leaving her there to suffocate alone.